happens when the fourth turning meets fifth-generation warfare.
A commentator, international social media sensation, and former Navy intelligence veteran.
This is Human Events with your host, Jack Posobiec.
Christ is king.
We have breaking news out of Cuba, where the president there just announced that while he's open to peace talks with the United States, his government also is not ruling out the possibility of entering a, quote, state of war.
U.S. President Donald Trump on Thursday rejected an offer from Russian President Vladimir Putin to voluntarily extend the New START nuclear arms control treaty. The agreement, which caps the number of deployed strategic warheads at 1,550 on each side, was signed in 2010 and expired Thursday.
New information emerging in the case of Nancy Guthrie's disappearance as the desperate search now enters day 6.
Law enforcement is racing against the clock, with the FBI confirming the first deadline from an alleged ransom note has expired and the next deadline set for Monday.
Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates is now expressing regret for his association with Jeffrey Epstein.
You know, in retrospect, that was a dead end, and I was foolish to spend time with him. I was one of many people who regret ever knowing him.
We begin tonight with a major change in immigration enforcement in Oregon. A federal judge has ordered a temporary stop to all warrantless immigration arrests. That change is the latest in a series of legal actions that could limit the power of federal agents conducting immigration raids.
Portland police served an arrest warrant on a man who threatened 2 security officers at a nearby Safeway on January 31st. He told them he was a part of the United States Secret Service.
A suspect had approached the security officers at the Safeway, produced a handgun, and pulled the trigger. That
gun didn't fire, and the suspect got away, but left behind a case with a loaded shotgun that contained shells with threats that mentioned President Donald Trump, according to PPB.
I want to give any spoilers. It's gonna be fun, and it's gonna be easy, and people only have to worry about dance. I know that I told them that they had 4 months to learn Spanish. They don't even have to learn Spanish. They just it's better if they learn to dance. But I think there's no better dance than the one that can come from the heart. The heartbeat dance. That's the only thing that they need to worry about and have fun and enjoy.
On your second question, I think everybody Bad Bunny is. And I think that was demonstrated last night, one of the great artists in the world. And that's one of the reasons we chose him. But the other reason is he understood the platform he was on, and that this platform is used to unite people and to be able to bring people together with their creativity, with their talents, and to be able to use this moment to do that. And I think artists in the past have done that. I think Bad Bunny understands that, and I think he'll have a great performance.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard today's edition of Human Events Daily. We're here live February 6, 2026, Anno Domini. And folks, what can I say? We are now just days away from the Turning Point USA All-American Halftime Show. And I've got a lot of response on this. People say, how do you watch it? How are we doing it? Park it right here, Real America's Voice. But to you in the Real America's Voice audience, you need to be the change agent. You need to go out and be the force multiplier for this cultural event. This is going to be a cultural turning point this Sunday. When you go out there and you go to whatever party you're at, you got to go out, be the force multiplier. Remember when we did the ballots? Remember we were getting the ballots and we were saying, get your ballot in, ballot chasing. Same idea. You need to be that persistent force. If you're at your party, if you're in the group chat, you go to the normies in your life and you say, this is where you go to Real America's Voice. This is how you get it up, whether you're on streaming, whether it's on a smart TV, you download it. So Amazon, Samsung, all of it. We're now up on the Amazon Prime, by the way, Roku. You can get it up there as well. So make sure it's all set up. Do it even before the game starts. So make sure you do it even before the game starts so you'll be ready to go. It's really simple, but it's really, really important to take the steps. This is your mission, Patriots. You need to go out there and tell people. Are you going to be one of the millions upon millions of Americans who proudly and boldly send the message to, and listen to these guys, Goodell, Bad Bunny, oh, you can do the dance if you don't understand the words. Ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. We're not going to take this anymore. We are the American people, and the American people are going to step up and be heard. Our voices will be heard, and we will vote. We will vote with our remote controls this weekend, because what we're going to do is turn that off. We're going to make the switch, turn it off, change the channel. Watch the game, whatever. Do whatever you want. But when halftime show comes around, turn the big game off and turn on American patriotism. People are going to be talking about this for years. This is going to be the start of a new change in America and a new change in how we run these halftime shows. And we all know this is one of the high days of American civic culture, right? But I'll tell you something right now. It's time to make the shift. And that guy, Goodell, he wants to double down on Bad Bunny. He wants to double down on all the insanity that's come forward. You know what I say? I say bring it. Because the people of this country, the people of America, the millions who voted for Donald Trump, the millions of people, folks who just like country music, folks who just don't want to be disrespected by the likes of Stephen Colbert and others, bring it on. Bring it on. You want to find us? We'll be at the TPUSA halftime show this weekend. We'll be right there.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with this Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Most people know the biblical story of David, the shepherd boy who fought Goliath and became king. Well, Angel Studios has created a new animated film called David that tells the story of Israel's greatest king.
There's a light I've always followed when I'm looking for the way, when I'm searching for the answer, in the moments I'm afraid. There's a whisper in the wind, and a story in the sky, when I'm looking for a lantern to illuminate the night. If you want the secret of freedom and feeling alive, you gotta follow the light. Follow the light.
For those who love great animated classics like The Lion King and Prince of Egypt, David is an awe-inspiring animated musical that depicts David as a spirited boy who fought lions, giants, and even betrayal, depicting how one boy's faith could lead him to be king of Israel. David will be released in theaters just in time for Christmas on December 19th, but your family can get a head start by watching the prequel to the film, Young David, which is streaming exclusively right now on Angel. It's perfect for the entire family and has memorable music. So once you join the Angel Guild, you can start watching Young David right now and prepare the fam for the David film in theaters in December. And by joining the Guild, you'll guarantee 2 free tickets to see it. And it's a great value. Let's be honest, going to the movies isn't all that cheap. But if you're a member of the Angel Guild, not only do you get those 2 free tickets to David, but you'll now have access to every single film or TV series on Angel at your convenience anytime. So just go to angel.com/Rav and join there.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether
stands in our way, and our golden age has just begun.
This is Human Events with Jack Posobiec.
Now it's time for everyone to understand what America First truly means.
Welcome to the Second American Revolution.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Human Events Daily. We're here live, Real America's Voice. Of course, everyone getting ready for the big halftime show, All-American halftime show, Kid Rock headlining this Sunday. So make sure you watch right here on Rav. Use your Rav app, your Rav channel, whichever one it is. You go, you check that out, boom, it's right there. Tell everybody you can get it live on Rav. Folks, every single workout, every injury or surgery creates microscopic good and bad damage inside the body. Muscle inflammation and tissue breakdown can peak within 72 hours after physical stress, which is why recovery matters just as much as training. Meet Regenerate from the Wellness Company, your new recovery resource. Regenerate is the first ever oral triple peptide recovery drop designed for full body healing without injections. It works by supporting the body's natural repair process through a proprietary Aquasome peptide delivery system. Now at the core is BPC 157, a body protective peptide known for supporting gut lining integrity while helping tendons, ligaments, soft tissue recover faster. Alongside it is KPV, a powerful anti-inflammatory tripeptide that can help calm excessive inflammation, restore your immune balance, and enhance the regenerative effects of BPC. Lastly, you get the TB500 added to your stack. It supports flexibility, endurance, and tissue repair by promoting healthy blood flow and cellular repair. No needles, no mess, just clean liquid drops powered by Aquasome. This is the delivery system for superior absorption. If you're ready to recover smarter, here's how you do it. twc.health/POSO and use promo code POSO to get 10% off plus free shipping. Again, Regenerate, backed by science, built for recovery. Really excited now. We've been trying to track him down all week, folks, and we promised you this. We've got Mike Benz back on the program. What's up, Mike?
How you doing, Jack? Good to see you.
Well, I know you've been burning the candle at both ends, going through the Epstein files and also seeing what the Epstein network is up to this week or these days, I should say. And, you know, since we've seen this, you know, I was kind of saying like, oh, Epstein Drop 2 finally came. Phase 2 finally came. One of the rare instances where the sequel is better than the original, as believe me, I well know. And I saw your tweet about this where you were just saying, wow, they absolutely delivered. What top lines did you find in this? And present, you know, to us your theory of the case regarding, and I know we've talked about on here before, the fact that yes, everybody looks at the underage girls, of course, criminal, disgusting, but many people overlook the money aspect, and that was his real ability and capability that he provided to the elites.
Yes, in terms of the kind of biggest bombshells that I've seen so far, I mean, there's kind of like a top 200 list, but I mean, starting just whatever randomly comes to my head, I would say that the 3-hour secret audio tape in which Jeffrey Epstein secretly records the head of the Israeli military while he is still the head of the Israeli military, but looking to quit and join the private sector. And Jeffrey Epstein coaches him on how to make millions of dollars on board seats and in a kind of VC venture capital type role by leveraging what he calls IOUs. People create a Rolodex of people who owe you favors. They owe you a job. They owe you their life. They owe you something. Now is the time to cash in those favors. And so this is, you know, if you've ever read the 1987 Tom Wolfe book, Bonfire of the Vanities, there's a chapter called The Favor Bank, which explains how the New York City criminal justice system works. Not that people are prosecuted or not prosecuted on the basis of whether they broke or didn't break a law, but rather on the basis of whether that prosecution puts a favor in the favor bank to somebody on the inside or somebody on the outside. And that is, I see that favor bank system everywhere in Washington, D.C. I saw it at the State Department. The careers have to decide whether to do a favor to their boss, the political appointee, or to a outside think tank like the Carnegie Endowment or the Atlantic Council or the Brookings Institution or the Open Society Foundation. And if the fixer, you know, someone who says, hey, you know, they see you at an event, they invite you to a party. They have a conversation. So you're at the State Department. Oh, you're in the Europe and Eurasia desk. Oh, that's interesting. Well, you know, we're working on a policy paper about trying to restructure the energy market in Europe. And it would be great if you could, give this a little push from the inside. And if that's not what government policy is, or that's not what the top-down directive is, there's a choice about whether to put a favor in the favor bank for an outside fixer, or whether to do the right thing, what's best for the United States. And so the presence of the Jeffrey Epstein archetype as a kind of financial fixer on the outside that people do favors for so that favors will be returned is something that basically corrupts the entire ability for us to have a government that serves our own people.
And by the way, of course, that Bonfire of the Vanities, it's so funny you mentioned that, because we talked about this on this program before in terms of the fact that, in that case, it's a bond trader who gets, basically unfairly accused of murder, and then the system completely turns against him. And I remember a couple of years back, I said, well, in that case, it was a real estate or a New York bond trader. But what if you say it was a New York real estate developer that the system were to turn against and to make up crimes against and claim that he was racist and all of this other stuff? Well, it's basically what Donald Trump has been living through this entire time, with the favor bank turning against him, a system that he, and in many ways, you see the parallels here where he was kind of like in this network, he was in this system, but then he turned against the system and the system turned against him.
Right. That's exactly right. But I think it's important to understand this context, that there is this just like in the censorship industrial complex. One of the difficult things to explain at first, but I think now the public has a pretty baseline understanding of this, is that there's this layer between the intelligence world and the non-intelligence world. It's kind of the para-intelligence world. And it's the same thing, like there's a government institution and there's a private sector, private business, but there's a sticky layer in between called public-private partnerships. And so, for example, if the Harvard Institute for International Development is getting $400 million from USAID to covertly, or even a better example, if USAID is giving $40 million to a Save the Children NGO in Pakistan, but the Central Intelligence Agency has tasked USAID to have Save the Children collect people's biometric identification markers in a fake vaccine program. Well, that fake vaccine program is no longer just like a run by an NGO, a purely non-private thing. It exists in that para-intelligence layer. And Epstein sits at that nexus between government and non-government, government and business, between intelligence and that sort of sticky, gooey layer, between countries and whether that's U.S., Israel, Saudi Arabia, UK, France. And so you kind of have this, through these files, we're able to actually verify what was before this highly educated, informed speculation based on overwhelming circumstantial evidence. Now you have the hard, direct evidence, and it's a very exciting period. I would be remiss if I did not once again call for someone in Congress, whether that be Thomas Massie or Ro Khanna, who sponsored this, to simply dupe out the JFK Records Collection Act and swap out John F. Kennedy for Jeffrey Epstein so that we can get the classified layer of this. I believe that that the CIA would not have been doing its job, for example, if it had not at the very least been keeping tabs on Jeffrey Epstein, given all of him handling money for sensitive CIA assets and agents, the fact that he was working with all these foreign governments while he was involved in highly geopolitical sensitive regions and activities over 40 years. And the fact that, as we found out in these incredible files, it turns out Jeffrey Epstein himself FOIA'd the CIA twice, in 1999 and in 2011, to see what documents the CIA had on him. The CIA came back both times and said, we have no open and acknowledged agency affiliations. As for any classified documents you requested, we can neither confirm nor deny the existence or non-existence of such files. Well, this would be a great moment. I don't think anyone in Congress, that bill passed 427-1 in the House and 99-0 in the Senate. I don't think anyone in Congress would want to be on the other side voting against that declassification mandatory independent review board. I think it's time to pull back the mask and show the true face of this thing.
It's time to dig it. It's time to dig it all up. And Ben's, to your point about CIA, right before we cut to this break, whenever they might need a favor from the favor bank, well, they just reach out to good old Jeff and say, Jeff, can you take care of something for us while we look the other way about certain other activities, because you're so useful for us when we need to move money around, when we need to move personnel around, whatever it is. Hey, can you fly this on one of your planes? You know, that wouldn't be on a passenger manifest. So you just look at the connections, and to the people who say there's nothing in Epstein, I would say you guys obviously haven't looked at the files. Be right back. Jack Posobiec, Mike Benz, Human Events Daily.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with this Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Most people know the biblical story of David, the shepherd boy who fought Goliath and became king. Well, Angel Studios has created a new animated film called David that tells the story of Israel's greatest king.
There's a light I've always followed when I'm looking for the way, when I'm searching for the answer. In the moments I'm afraid, there's a whisper in the wind and a story in the sky. When I'm looking for a lantern to illuminate the night. If you want the secret of freedom and feeling alive, you gotta follow the light. Follow the light.
For those who love great animated classics like The Lion King and Prince of Egypt, David is an awe-inspiring animated musical that depicts David as a spirited boy who fought lions, giants, and even betrayal, depicting how one boy's faith could lead him to be king of Israel. David will be released in theaters just in time for Christmas on December 19th, but your family can get a head start by watching the prequel to the film, Young David, which is streaming exclusively right now on Angel. It's perfect for the entire family and has memorable music. So once you join the Angel Guild, you can start watching Young David right now and prepare the fam for the David film in theaters in December. And by joining the Guild, you'll guarantee 2 free tickets to see it. And it's a great value. Let's be honest, going to the movies isn't all that cheap. But if you're a member of the Angel Guild, not only do you get those 2 free tickets to David, but you'll now have access to every single film or TV series on Angel at your convenience anytime. So just go to angel.com/Rav and join there.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether...
You talk about influencers. These are influencers, and they're friends of mine. Jack Posobiec. Where's Jack? Jack, who's done a great job.
All right, folks, here we go. Jack Posobiec, we're back. Human Events Daily. Every day, Americans make choices that shape our country's future, right down to which cell phone provider we support. Here's what most people don't realize. Patriot Mobile isn't just a wireless provider. They're an activist organization funded by selling top-tier cell phone service. They've been on the front lines defending our freedoms long before it was cool, standing in the gap when others wouldn't. The best part is they deliver prioritized premium service on all 3 major U.S. networks, giving you the same or even better coverage backed by 100% U.S.-based customer support. Get unlimited data plans, mobile hotspots, international roaming, and so much more. When you switch over to Patriot Mobile, you'll help grow a movement that fuels the Christian conservative cause. Every bill helps you pay and advance the values of faith, family, and freedom. Switching is easier than ever. Activate in minutes. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Take a stand today. Go to patriotmobile.com/POSO or call 972-PATRIOT and use promo code POSO for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/POSO or give them a call, 972-PATRIOT. Make the switch today. Okay, Mike Benz, I want to get you back on here because we also were talking about, so you're digging through the Epstein files, but we're also getting the contours of the Epstein network. You put out a video late last night, early this morning. It's been making the rounds, going hyper viral regarding J.D. Vance, the EU 2028 censorship, and you claim that this is tied to elements of the Epstein network. What's going on?
Well, what I mean by that, there is a funny direct tie. Even just yesterday, the government of France raided the offices of X to get their internal data, claiming X was non-compliant with their new censorship law. So they literally had their Ministry of Justice sick their feds to raid, as if it was James O'Keefe's house, the corporate offices of a major U.S. company, X, just for its data that to force it to compel censorship of speech. But when it did so, France justified it by its EU censorship law that it's enforcing with a crowbar. They cited a fake news study by MIT Media Lab, and turns out MIT Media Lab was engorged in a massive scandal when it turned out that they had secretly concealed millions of dollars in funding from Jeffrey Epstein. And Jeffrey Epstein also brought in as a bundle of money into the MIT Media Lab Reid Hoffman, who was the one who funded the fake E. Jean Carroll case and funded the fake Russian bots, the unbelievable New Knowledge scandal from 2017, when the private mercenary firm that wrote the Senate intelligence report on Russian bots was caught by Facebook creating fake Russian bots and mass subscribing them to the Republican Roy Moore's candidacy. In fact, New Knowledge, funded by Reid Hoffman, would say that in their donor report, quote, we orchestrated an elaborate false flag operation to give the public impression that Roy Moore was being backed by the Russians. And then they describe how after they created these fake Russian bots, they told the media that they had discovered fake Russian bots as a digital forensics firm. So this is who France is citing to justify its censorship activities, a fake news study funded by someone brought in by Jeffrey Epstein, whose whole professional career is funding fake operations. So irony there. But another thing is the censorship industrial complex at its heart is a transatlantic thing. It was from the moment it was born. The censorship industrial complex was not born in the United States after Trump won the 2016 election. It was born under NATO and the EU after the 2014 Crimea coup the Maidan coup that gave rise to the Eastern Ukraine breakaway and the Crimea referendum for it to join the Russian Federation. That was when NATO, the US, and the EU began setting up what at the time was its nascent censorship industrial complex by switching NATO's charter to focus on so-called hybrid threats. That is, it went from tanks to tweets. First setting up this censorship infrastructure through the Atlantic Council, which is funded not just by the U.S. government, the State Department, the War Department, USAID, the National Endowment for Democracy, but also by the British government, the Norwegian government, the French government, the Spanish government, as well as major oil companies and military industrial complex actors. But then when Brexit happened, the censorship industrial complex moved west to Western Europe. They blamed Brexit on, Russian infiltration of social media, etc., and then to the U.S. when Trump won in November 2016, and then as right-wing populist parties like the Vox Party in Spain, Marine Le Pen's party in France, the AfD party in Germany, started to rise in polling and sometimes to power, as it did, for example, in Italy. The U.S., EU, the transatlantic censorship industrial complex began to radically escalate, and it feared that it did not have the leverage on its own, countries on their own, to be able to be a crowbar to Google, one of the biggest companies in the world, Facebook, one of the biggest companies in the world, and Twitter. And so they got together at these transatlantic, it was basically out of power Democrats with never Trump Republicans, with their EU bureaucrats and their NATO bot, blobsters, all got together in rooms. I, have this all on tape. I've played hundreds of hours of video of this over the years. And between 2017 and 2018, said we need to create the leverage to be able to enforce censorship as a matter of rule of law, because we're not able to change the social norms around this fast enough. So what happened is the U.S. government agencies, and mostly these are intelligence, if not at best intelligence adjacent.
It's so clear the nexus is. It's so clear the way the same patronage networks, and that's what it is, are still operating today. Mike Benz, that's all the time we have. We got to hop over here. Where can people go to follow you?
Find me on X, on YouTube, Instagram. It's all Mike Benz Cyber.
Mike Benz Cyber. God bless, man, and God bless you. Hope you'll be watching the halftime show this weekend, Benz. You're gonna like it. You're gonna like what we put together for TPUSA.
Yes, sir.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAVAngel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive Homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAVAngel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
The radical left knows exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol. They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history. For thousands of Americans, it was the moment their voices were taken.
It's insurrection.
They were persecuted, hunted.
Seditious conspiracy.
But behind prison walls, something unexpected happened. They found their voice again.
Started singing the national anthem.
We took it up to him at Mar-a-Lago. He goes, I'll put my voice on it.
Our supporters made this go platinum.
Real America's Voice is telling the real story of January 6th like you've never seen it before.
Everybody, this must be peaceful.
Where's Jack? Where's Jack? Where is he? Jack, I want to see you. Great job, Jack. Thank you. What a job you do. You know, we have an incredible thing. We're always talking about the fake news and the bad, but we have guys, and these are the guys who should be getting Pulitzers.
All right, Jack Posobiec back live here, Human Events Daily. Folks, got to tell you something straight up. You guys know that I'm the kind of guy that's just picky about, what I put in my body, what kind of companies that I support. Blackout Coffee checks every single box. A family-run American company. They roast fresh coffee right here in the USA, and they believe in hard work, freedom, and this country. 2026, huge year, 250th anniversary of the US of A. Blackout Coffee is celebrating with new roasts, limited editions, and very exciting releases coming. Look, I drink Blackout Coffee every day. I'm a mug right here. Morning shows, late shows, travel. It is smooth, strong. It's always fresh. Make the switch. There's no going back. They've got something for everybody. Morning Reaper, you're going to love it. Best selling. It's smooth. It's never bitter. Brutal awakening. Bold, dark. Actually wakes you up. For 2026, you got to try the 1776 Dark Roast. Rich, unapologetic, made to honor America's founding. And also the 2A Medium Roast, which is smooth, it's balanced, and it's named after the Second Amendment. Your coffee shows up fresh, on schedule, never runs out. They got an instant coffee as well. We're not talking some weak gas station powder, real Blackout Coffee in a packet. No machine, no mess. Add water, stir. You're ready to roll. Work, travel, keep it in your bag, keep it in your desk, put it in your go bag. Blackoutcoffee.com/POSO. Use promo code POSO for 20% off your first order. That's blackoutcoffee.com/POSO. Support these American jobs and celebrate 250 years of freedom. All right, folks, very excited that we have now on the program. Of course, we've all been talking, the entire country is talking and on edge about this situation down in Arizona, sort of north of Tucson, in the area of Pima County, where the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Savannah Guthrie, has taken place. I want to bring on someone we've had on the program before. He is the former sheriff of Pinal County, which was just north of there, Sheriff Mark Lamb, who has run before. He's running for Congress right now. He joins us here, Human Events Daily. Sheriff, how are you?
Great, Jack. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you. And I just got to get your sense, have you ever seen something like this take place in the state of Arizona? Certainly on your watch, what's your sense of the case as it's unfolded?
Well, look, this is a very high-profile case because of whose mom she is. And there's a lot of cases like this happen, and oftentimes the people don't have the name recognition, and those cases go unknown to the community. We had one similar when I first became sheriff. Turned out to be a catfish thing. He disappeared. Same type of thing, blood around a car. We worked that case. It took us 4 days to actually find the body. Unfortunately, by the time we found him, he was dead. And we ultimately tracked down the guy using social media, phone pings, and we got our suspect, and he is now facing life in prison plus 30 years or something. So I've seen it firsthand, and we've been involved in some of these other cases, but this is a really high-profile case. And, Jack, one more thing, not to take away from this case and what's going on for the Guthrie family, but we also have some really big news that has dropped, and it's kind of frustrating because there's a lot of stuff dropping right now with the Epstein stuff, and yet this is kind of dominating the news. And so I'm hoping that at some point we get some attention back to some of these people in the country have done some really, really nasty things and might be involved in that. So anyway, but I know we're talking about Guthrie today, so.
Right, and certainly, there's been no shortage of violence, no shortage of trouble coming across. I mean, you're talking just about an hour north of the border. People know I've talked about before that I used to be ran through Fort Huachuca a couple of times down Sierra Vista area for training, and so I'm familiar with this area. Obviously, the Turning Point headquarters being there in Phoenix, so I've been to this area quite a few times, and the spot where she's at, or the house is at, people have to realize that this is kind of on the outskirts. This is not the center of town. This is a more specific area. This isn't something where you're just sort of driving down the street and you see a house. I mean, you can even see in some of the videos where it's like this. Sheriff, in a situation like this, there's a lot of questions have come up. People say, could this be, there's ransom notes, there's hoax ransom notes coming in, some that seem to be taken seriously, but then other people are also saying, what about members of the family? In a law enforcement situation, how do you parse that out when it seems like there's so much incoming all at once?
Yeah, there is a lot of incoming, and plus the national attention. There's just social media, the national media, everything is popping off with this. What we have to do when we take a case like this is we have to remove the feelings of it. I mean, obviously we feel for the family in that sense, but we also we can't let it cloud our judgment or cloud the evidence. And honestly, in these cases, 90% or more, I don't know what the exact number, I know it's over 90%, end up being somebody that's familiar to the person or maybe even sometimes family. And so what you're going to look for is you're going to look for who had the means, who had the opportunity, and also who had the motive. And the family oftentimes falls within those three the most. I think that you start there, you have to cast a wide net because you don't want to lose her either. You want to be able to catch anybody that might be trying to get out of town. So you cast a wide net, but honestly, you're going to really focus in and hone in until you can clear them. You've got to look at the people that had the means and the opportunity, and unfortunately, that falls to the family most often. So, yeah, that's how we would treat that case. Our job is to find them and find the crime and find the criminals, the suspects, the victim, and we have to stay focused on what the evidence and where it leads, what it is and where it leads.
Well, there's no question about that. I'm sure you must have seen this dramatic exchange, the purported ransom notes. They're going to TMZ and some local media. You've seen members of the family, the children, responding to the ransom notes. When you get something like that, how do you really vet whether something like that is real? Obviously you have to be skeptical, but what do you do in terms of one of those situations?
Well, what you're going to vet is whether they have information that is not privy to anybody else. I think there was some information in one of those notes. One of them, I think they arrested somebody on, and I don't know why they're sending them to TMZ or the media. That doesn't make sense. But they're sending them to there. One of them, it was enough, I think, that they've had a response to. Now, if you look at their responses, I know people hear the message from the family, and it is heartfelt, and the FBI and law enforcement doesn't tell you what to say. But when I hear those messages, if you go back and listen to them, now that I told you this, both the son and Savannah, the way they say there's very key information in there, and it follows a script that the FBI or we in law enforcement will give to a family missing somebody. A, you want to establish contact. Hey, please, we're ready to reach out. We're ready to talk. B, you ask for something, and in this case, you're going to ask for proof of life. What we need to see that she's alive. You even go, part of it is making sure that they're not sending you some fake photo, which Savannah hit on. And the third thing you do is you humanize the victim. This is our mom. We love her. We want her back. She has medical issues. Those are all following a very specific way to deal with abductors and people that have been abducted. And so while the rest of the country saw it as, hey, those messages, if you go back, they're very consistent in what they're saying, and they're hitting these very key pieces for a script when we're dealing with an abduction or a kidnapping.
Well, that's exactly right. And some of the military training I had, talking about, hostage taking, abduction situations, it hits on all the same, the idea of humanization, make sure that there's someone there, that it's a situation like that. I do have to ask though, you being a former sheriff from the area, what is your sense of the communication that the public has gotten versus, what seems to be a lot of information that kind of goes back and forth? One day there's one thing and then suddenly it gets contradicted the next day. What's your sense of that?
You have to give confident and clear information. Give as much as you can without jeopardizing the case. I don't think that was accomplished initially, and it's created a real quagmire on the information level. And still to this time, they're still messaging, well, we don't know, or really don't have any clue who it is. That doesn't give confidence to the family. That doesn't give confidence to the public. And what it does is it actually fuels more disconcerting information or confusing information. oftentimes, even if you don't really have a strong suspect, you will tell people that you do, because it makes the person who may be the abductor, they now all of a sudden start to make mistakes. And so you're trying to either force them to make mistakes, maybe they move the person, and this is the type of information we would be giving. But really, the leadership should be delivering very confident, very clear, give as much as information as you can to the community, and then withhold key information that's going to help you on your investigation.
Sheriff Lamb, this is phenomenal information. One of the biggest stories really in the country right now. We're up on a hard break. I want to hold you over because this is something we're getting comments flooding in right now with the response to the stuff that you're putting out. So hold it right there. Jack Posobiec, Sheriff Mark Lamb here on Human Events Daily. Be right back.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAV Angel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive Homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAV Angel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
The radical left knows exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol. They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.
January 6th wasn't just a moment in history. For thousands of Americans, it was the moment their voices were taken.
It's insurrection.
They were persecuted, hunted.
Seditious conspiracy.
But behind prison walls, something unexpected happened. They found their voice again.
Started singing the national anthem.
We took it up to him at Mar-a-Lago. He goes, I'll put my voice on it.
Our supporters made this go platinum.
Real America's Voice is telling the real story of January 6th like you've never seen it before.
Everybody, this must be peaceful.
Jack is a great guy. He's written a fantastic book. Everybody's talking about it. Go get it. And he's been my friend right from the beginning of this whole beautiful event. And we're going to turn it around and make our country great again. Amen.
All right, Jack Posobiec, we are back live. We've got Sheriff Mark Lamb joining us now. Of course, he's running for Congress now, but for many years, he was the sheriff of Pinal County there in Arizona. Not exactly the same county where Nancy Guthrie has gone missing, but very, very close, and in some cases also very similar terrain. Sheriff Lamb, you were telling us about a case that took place where you had a disappearance. Tell us a little bit about the terrain that we're talking about in this situation, because people are saying if she was abducted, I mean, they could be out in the desert.
Yeah, look, first of all, the desert is very dark out there. Everything in the desert is trying to poke you, stick you, try to kill you, scratch you, whatever, bite you. So it is not the place you want to be. It gets very cold at night, even though Arizona may get up to 75 to 80 degrees. It's still extremely cold out there in the desert. And so even from a helicopter, it's hard to actually locate people in the desert because of the terrain. So when we've been looking for smugglers or lost people in the past, we're flying over, and it is very tough to see them, which is why they have called in BORTAC. BORTAC is a specialized unit with the Border Patrol. They are extremely proficient at looking for people, tracking people, using footprints, all sorts of stuff. So I'm glad to see that they brought them in, because if she is indeed in the desert, you're going to want to have people experience with that terrain who know where she might be and where to look. Now, if she's been in the desert, it's going to be a miserable 4 nights or so because it gets cold, but BORTAC is there and they can help us tremendously in that area.
Well, and so BORTAC, I mean, this ties in with the national conversation that we've been having. ICE, Border Patrol, control of the border. BORTAC has these capabilities, not because typically they're looking for abductees or victims, but because they're tracking traffickers and cartels and migrants and coyotes across the border in this area.
Yeah, they're human traffickers, and they're human. Let me say that again. They are human trackers, not traffickers. They look for the human trafficker.
On the side of the wall.
Yes.
Sorry about that. I'm getting on a plane for anybody listening. They are human trackers. They're very good at what they do, and they're going to be very helpful if she is indeed in the desert. You want to rule that out. You don't want that to be lingering around. You want to be able to know that you've looked at all those areas, you've followed every lead. And this also, going back to the tracking, footprints, tire tracks, all of those things become very important in a case like this. And guys who are experienced in that are going to be very helpful.
And they have the ability to do that as well. You know, you mentioned at night infrared. That's something they're going to be able to track. Or on those infrared cams, I know this from being an intelligence officer in the military, that you could track if a vehicle has come through an area recently, because they'll see that heat signature, and that'll light up at night.
Absolutely. That'll help. If there's anybody that's been laying in the sand, it'll show the warmth of that in there. So yeah, very helpful for tracking.
It certainly is. Sheriff Lamb, tell people a little bit about your race and what it is that made you want to go from law enforcement into running for political office there, running for Congress.
Look, I think we need this type of leadership, not just at a county level. We're seeing it. We need it everywhere. We need people that are experiencing the issues of this country, Border Patrol, getting government spending under control, finding fraud and prosecuting people for fraud. These are the type of leadership we need in D.C. And frankly, right now, we need people that are unapologetic about what they believe in. And my belief system is God, family, freedom, and the Constitution. Andy Biggs has been a great congressman, but he's now running for governor in the state of Arizona. And I'm working on trying to replace his empty seat and make sure that we get a good conservative in Washington, D.C. that's going to try to bring some strong leadership and some knowledge to Washington on some areas that we really need to make sure we fix. President Trump has done great with his executive orders and fixing the border, and now we've got to solidify those long term and make sure that we protect American citizens. Because all that we're seeing in Minnesota and everywhere else, these are a byproduct of a broken immigration system, and we're still dealing with the after effects of the Biden administration.
And that's exactly what we see going on writ large. And by the way, you mentioned how Border Patrol and the importance of what they're doing. You got BORTAC out there that's actually joining in the search for Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy, and they're being demonized by the Democrats. They're being demonized by the media, by the left. But this is what they do on a regular basis. They're the best in the world at it. And those are the same people who are being used as a political football when really all they are is national security and law enforcement.
That's it. That's it. And what this also shows is the importance of a working relationship with federal law enforcement and local law enforcement. Not to digress into a political, but what we see across this country in the areas where they don't want to work with the federal partners, it's not always about immigration. Sometimes it's about finding somebody's mom. Sometimes it's about tracking down human traffickers, child traffickers. Sometimes it's about tracking down drug operations and cartels across this country. To be successful, we have to have good collaboration and cooperation from our local law enforcement, state law enforcement, county sheriffs, and our federal partners. And I think this should be a reminder to everybody on a case like this, the importance of that. And kudos to President Trump for his willingness to send all those resources for this case and to be able to help wherever he can.
Well, that's exactly right, Sheriff Lamb. I know you got to run. Tell people where they can go to follow all of everything that you're doing to get involved with the campaign.
Well, Jack, thank you for having me on again. Please go to marklamb.us, marklamb.us. You can support by donating. You can donate no matter where you live. Even though I'm running for Congress in Arizona, the votes I make will impact you no matter what state you live in. I've been endorsed by President Trump, House Freedom Fund, Club for Growth, TPUSA. So, yeah, we're at Turning Point Action. We're running a great campaign, and we want to be able to represent the people of Arizona. And look, my heart goes out to the Guthrie family. I hope prayers for the law enforcement and the family, but hopefully they find her and bring some resolution to this case.
Well, amen to that. There's no question. Sheriff Lamb, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Jack. We'll talk to you later.
Absolutely, folks. You got it straight from the horse's mouth. Sheriff Lamb, one of the best men in law enforcement, certainly Arizona. When this whole thing kicked off, he was one of the first people I said, we want to get him on. I want to get Sheriff Lamb on. And I've remembered he was from the county that was immediately adjacent to Pima County. I said, well, look, he knows the area, similar terrain, probably have had cases that, cross from county to county because, of course, criminals and traffickers and the rest, they aren't the ones that are going to be, they're not going to worry about county lines. They're going in and out. And that situation he talked about where, it was a search and rescue where they were found out in the desert, that there was an individual that had gone lost and had been missing, catfished in that situation, later found with the vehicle, blood out there in the desert. And it's not far from this area. This is a remote area. This is not right downtown. This is in the outskirts of Tucson. And then from there, it is not far at all as the crow flies or be able to drive out into the high desert. And certainly something that I think myself and a lot of people are looking for. I'll just say, you have to take them seriously, but I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical of these ransom letters. I want to know what's going on there. The fact that they're going to media and not dealing directly with the family, it all seems very suspicious. So my heart and prayers are certainly with the Guthrie family. This weekend, folks, patriots, America, the public, law and order. That's what we're talking about. And I'm talking about American patriots, not the team. That's why we've got the Super Bowl halftime show. That's why, look, it's going on to be a national thing. I came up with the original, the tweet for it and all the rest. But at the end of the day, it's about honoring our country, using the inspiration from Charlie. That's exactly where this came from. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're watching this Sunday. Remember, change the channel to American patriotism. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, you have my permission to lay ashore.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch Season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAV Angel to 75800 758002. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAVAngel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
The radical left knows exactly what they're doing. They want to steal the election. We're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and we're going to the Capitol. They need to take back our country.
Events in Washington have taken a violent and tumultuous turn.